Istanbul has two international airports, Istanbul Airport on the European side and Sabiha Gokcen Airport on the Asian side of the city. Istanbul Airport, which is about 50 kilometers away, is located northwest of the historic center of Sultan Ahmet. Most of the international flights to Istanbul use the new Istanbul Airport. Sabiha Gokcen Airport, located on the Asian side, is approximately 40 km outside the city center and is often used by European low-cost airlines. For transportation, you can use the shuttle buses from Hawaii. Depending on the destination, prices range from 16 to 25 lira per person. In addition to the direct connection to Sultan Ahmet and Taksim, there are 18 more routes. The trip to Taksim or Sultan Ahmet takes about 70 minutes and costs 18 lira. As with the other regular buses, you can only pay with the Istanbul card. A taxi trip from the Istanbul airport to Taksim costs approximately 20 euro. You can also rent a car from the airport. Choosing the best area to stay in Istanbul can make or break your holiday. It's worth spending a couple of minutes looking at the pros and cons of each neighborhood. Every district boasts its own charms and atmosphere and delivers a different and unique experience to visitors of the city. There is no shortage of places where to stay in Istanbul, ranging from the budget-friendly to the ultra-posh and expensive accommodation. Without a doubt, Sultan Ahmet remains the most popular tourist attraction in the Grand City. This area is the original heart of Istanbul back when it was Constantinople, making it the center of so many iconic sites like the revered Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque. It makes the area an ideal place to stay in Istanbul for the first-time tourists. Sultan Ahmet is unarguably the cultural and historical heart of the city. Not only is the original section of the city, it is also classically encompassed by various straits and seas to the south, east and north. While budget accommodations are rare here in the stunning old quarter of the city, there are a number of mid-range price choices and options. Istanbul is huge, literally massive. But it's a pretty easy city to get around, thanks to an excellent network of public transport methods. The Istanbul card is how you pay for public transport in the city. It's worth buying this at the airport if you can, as you will need it to get to where you're staying. You can buy a new card at any of the yellow or blue machines at the airport. And you can also purchase them from booths in the city where you see the Istanbul card sign. There are several different types of public transport you can use to get around Istanbul. While you can walk between certain places, remember that distances are pretty big. It is also not the best idea to hire a car to try and drive in Istanbul. The traffic, the roads, the beeping, it's enough to drive you crazy. Save yourself the stress and use public transport instead. If you can get a taxi to stop and take you to where you want to go, you're golden. However, it is the costliest mode of transportation and not recommended. Buses are very easy to use in Istanbul. They say where they are going on the front, and they have a list of the main stops too. Then when you get on, you'll see that there's a screen telling you where it's going, and the list of stops the bus will stop at. The only issue is that buses do get stuck in traffic and they can be very busy at certain times, especially during weekends and from 6 p.m. during the week. Despite that, they are the cheapest and most accessible way to get around. The final option is to take the tram. Trams don't cover the whole city, but it's a great way to save your feet, especially in the touristy area. The line starts as Kabatash, which is down the hill from Taksim and goes as far as Bazaar. Trams can become quite busy during the rush hour, although they are never all the quiet. An important Byzantine structure in Istanbul and one of the world's great monuments. Hagia Sophia was built as a Christian church in the 6th century. In subsequent centuries, it became a mosque, a museum, and a mosque again. The building reflects the religious changes that have played out in the region over the centuries, with the minarets and inscriptions of Islam as well as the lavish mosaics of Christianity. Hagia Sophia is one of the greatest surviving examples of Byzantine architecture. Its interior is decorated with mosaics, marble pillars, and coverings of great artistic value. It is famous for its exterior as well as its interior. Hagia Sophia is more than just a monument to the grandeur of human achievement and artistic expression. The 4 minarets of Hagia Sophia, known to be built by the Mimar Sinan, increase the magnificence of the structure. Hagia Sophia marvel has so many stories to portray, from the Byzantine era to the Ottoman Empire. This legendary building is the greatest symbol of Istanbul. A Hagia Sophia tour is a must when you explore historic peninsula, which has a special place in history as an architectural gem. The Blue Mosque is an Ottoman-era historical imperial mosque. Hand-painted blue tiles adorn the mosque's interior walls, and at night the mosque is bathed in blue as lights frame the mosque's 5 main domes, 6 minarets, and 8 secondary domes. The design is the culmination of 2 centuries of Ottoman mosque development and is considered to be the last great mosque of the classical period. The ceiling of the Blue Mosque is spectacular. It is one of the reasons the Blue Mosque is so incredibly famous. Aside from its impeccable symmetry, the reds and golds of the carpet contrast the blue tiling. The low hum of respectful visitors create a silent energy around the room. The most important element in the interior of the mosque is the mihrab, which is made of finely carved and sculptured marble. The mosque has been designed so that even when it is at full capacity, everyone in the mosque can see and hear the imam. Dolmabahce Palace, located on the European coast of the Bosphorus Strait, is one of the most magnificent symbolic structures of the Ottoman Empire's changing 19th century identity. It has an eternal value as one of the first monuments of modernization. Dolmabahce Palace, the symbol of westernization of the 19th century, carries the memory of the centuries and the clear splendor of the waters of the Bosphorus. As a visitor, you enter the palace from the ceremonial road. The first room of the palace is Medhal Hall, meaning entrance. This was the first room every visitor would see in the palace. The highlight of the palace is Muyid Hall. The majority of the big celebrations of the royal family were held in this room. The biggest Bohemian crystal chandelier in the palace, weighing nearly 4.5 tons, is visible in this room. The biggest handmade carpet is also decorating the beautiful reception hall. Expensive stones such as Marmara marble, Egyptian alabaster, and porphyry from Pergamon were used for the decoration. Watch the mystical ritual of the Mevlevi order, whose whirling dance has been declared a UNESCO Heritage of Humanity. The Sema ceremony is a journey through man's spiritual ascent to perfection through mind and love. A truly unmissable and astonishing experience of music and moves. A solemn silence falls over the audience as 5 musicians dressed in long black cloaks and conical beige hats enter the room and take their seats at the opening of our semicircle. One by one they begin to play an eerie, ethereal tune with their instruments. As one drummer ceases his pounding, he unleashes his voice in some of the most beautiful yet desolate deep singing we have ever heard, and the dervishes begin to enter the room. On the dancers' heads sit a conical felt hat called a sek, representing the tombstones of their egos. Their dark cloaks representing the wearer's worldly life and are cast off before the ceremony begins. Only when the dervish is wearing just his white robe is he ready to begin the complex worlds of the Sema. The idea is that these ritual mimics leaving the earthly world behind in order to become one with God. Topkapi Palace and Harem are likely to have more colorful stories than most of the world's museums put together. The Topkapi Palace is notable not only for its architecture and collections but also for the history and culture of the Ottoman Empire that it recalls. Set on the top of the most visible hill of Istanbul, Topkapi Palace is a symbol of the city, opulent, decadent, and steeped in history. It offers visitors a chance to get to know the sultans of the Ottoman Empire rather more intimately. Exhibited in the treasure section, the 86-carat spoonmaker's diamond is listed as the 5th biggest diamond in the world. Topkapi Palace Museum have large collections of porcelain, robes, weapons, Islamic calligraphic manuscripts, as well as other Ottoman treasures and jewelry. The Romanesque-style tower built in 1348 named Tower of Christ as a watchtower is currently being used as an exhibition place and a museum. It is one of the symbols of Buyuklu and Istanbul. It is a marvelous consolidation of East Roman, Genoese and Ottoman characteristics. The varied influences of these empires can be seen in their myriad architecture. It is undoubtedly one of the most iconic monuments in the peninsula that offers the most stellar visuals of the entire city. Located close to the junction of the Bosphorus and the Golden Horn, it has scintillated views of the entire Istanbul peninsula and its surroundings. Istanbul's Grand Bazaar is one of the world's greatest shopping destinations and spanning 30,000 square meters, is the largest covered market in the entire world. The bazaar began its life in 1461 and steadily expanded, swallowing up surrounding ground over the centuries of Ottoman rule. A visit here is not simply about shopping for souvenirs. With its grand arcaded main streets and narrow alleys leading between hands and bedsteads, it is one of the best places to visit in Istanbul to get a sense of Ottoman life. Unsurprisingly, the Grand Bazaar is one of the world's top tourist attractions, and a visit here rates top of many people's thing-to-do list while in Istanbul. Drinking tea and chatting with the shopkeepers here is a part of the experience. You will be offered tea by everyone. Your experience here will be much richer and more fun if you take the time to partake in this Turkish hospitality. Bargaining is the name of the game. For an idea how much items cost, spend some time browsing a range of shops before purchasing. Carpets, lamps, ceramics, water pipe, jewelry, fashion accessories, and sweet edibles are some of the top choices of items that can be bought from Grand Bazaar. A cruise on the Bosphorus is probably the most overlooked Istanbul tourist attraction. With such an abundance of historical sightseeing spots in Istanbul and too little time to squeeze them all, it is quite understandable. But take our advice and set a few hours aside to take an unforgettable Bosphorus tour. Sehir Hatlari is Istanbul's official ferry company. It offers 3 great Bosphorus tours: Short Circle Bosphorus Cruise, Full Bosphorus Cruise, and the Full Bosphorus Cruise by night. We recommend the Full Bosphorus tour, which offers a great Bosphorus experience and will take several hours in total. For a mere 25 lira, this cruise will take you from Eminönü all the way to the Black Sea and back. Each way takes about 90 minutes since the ferry makes 5 short stops to let people on and off. You must get off the ferry in Anadolu Kavagi, the last harbour before the Black Sea. This gives you the opportunity to grab lunch in one of the town's fish restaurants located on the shore and visit the fortress. The Rumeli Fortress in Istanbul is a 500 years old building that's known as the fortress that cut the Bosphorus. It offers one of the most wonderful views in the entire world. You can book a ticket to this fortress and have the most scrumptious breakfast there. The romanticism created by these restaurants, enhanced by the surrounding views, makes your day beautiful. Being surrounded by the sea makes it even more special. The towers are higher than 20 meters and people love to climb the stairs and get to see the best views. The unique building, which has survived a lot of destruction but still serves as a museum for the public, is exceptional in architecture and green. The beautiful gardens are all covered by the typical flora of Bosphorus. Many people have a love-hate relationship with the ever-bustling Istiklal Street that runs from the Taksim Square nearly all the way to the landmark Galata Tower. Although it is the beating heart of the city, the 3 million people that pass it every day can make it rather challenging to traverse. Yet it serves as a microcosm of Istanbul itself, and although chains and fast food joints are starting to edge out the more old-fashioned shops, there are still traces of old Istanbul here. Located in the historic Buyoglu district, it is an elegant pedestrian street, 1.4 kilometers long, which houses boutiques, music stores, bookstores, art galleries, cinemas, theaters, libraries, cafes, pubs, nightclub with live music, historical pastries, chocolateries, and restaurants. Crowning the street at the northern end of Taksim Square, a place which has been in the news time and again is as the site of many demonstrations and protests. The Istiklal Street food options are seemingly endless. From the tantalizingly cheap street food such as stuffed mussels, simits and pilaf right up to some of the best restaurants in Istanbul, Buyoglu never sleeps and is the most buzzing nightlife destination in the city. Hey guys, we hope you liked the video. Don't forget to press the thumbs up, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for more awesome travelogues.